But generally my story is one of interest because I wrote a book the entire market said would never sell because it was ugly, I wasn't a chef, I had a green cover, it didn't have pictures, blah, blah, blah. It went on to become the biggest self-published cookbook in Australian history. It has spawned an entire series. We are now the 7th largest publisher in Australia. And it's just, and then from all of that, people are naturally interested, well, how did, I defied logic, I defied the trade, I defied the experts, you know, in the trade. And so that's an interesting story. So then from, you know, my cookbook stemmed my speaking gigs as well.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Manage Self, Lead Others podcast with Nina Sunday, CSP, for experienced and aspiring people managers. This show helps you explore ways to become a more intentional leader. Each episode, host Nina Sunday speaks with some of the brightest business minds on the planet who share a passion to elevate and transform team culture. Workplace culture hides in plain sight. Is yours flourishing? Join the movement to make your workplace a better place to work. Are you ready? Because it's time to manage self, lead others.
After being turned down by every major publisher in Australia, Kim McCosker self-published her first cookbook, 4 Ingredients, which became the best-selling self-published book in Australian history, selling 400,000 copies in 2007 alone. 4 Ingredients has sold over 3 million copies. Now, 41 cookbooks, 4 Ingredients is a successful publishing house and the most trusted cookbook brands in Australia. How did it start? Having completed a Bachelor of International Finance to become a financial planner and arriving home from work to a starving family, only to find recipes with 14 ingredients, Kim McCosker vowed to uncomplicate her busy life with a series of recipes that were quick and easy. In 2006, Kim started to type 4 Ingredients, the easiest cookbook in the world. The world's easiest cookbook. Welcome, Kim McCosker.
Oh, thank you for having me, Nina.
And thank you so much for the gifts of your 2 books. Obviously, I requested the gluten-free cookbook, and I'll tell you something. I had no idea satay chicken was as simple as mixing curry paste with peanut butter. Duh.
And how magical is it? How good is it?
Because I thought you had to have all these, multiple ingredients for genuine, authentic satay. That's great if you're a restaurant.
Or
you're serving multiple people.
Or have the time like my life. I'm running in at the end of a busy day, Nina, and everyone's starving. I've got to water the plants. I've got to walk the dog. What's for dinner, Mum? And of course, fresh is best. If you've got time to make your own basil pesto, if you've got time to make your own satay sauce or, what you do that, absolutely. But in my life, I don't have time for that Monday to Friday. So it is find the best possible alternative, with the most natural ingredients, authentic flavor, and use that.
All right, now let's go back to the very start when you had your manuscript ready for a publisher to publish, or that's what you thought in the beginning. And tell us a little bit about the rejection, but also what led you to self-publishing.
So about 17 years ago, I was a mum of 2 boys working in corporate finance, far more versed in the complexities of superannuation than shepherd's pie. But my life was such with the kids, you'd work late, you'd race home, extracurricular, soccer, tennis, whatever it was. Then you get home and then you've got to do that's when your crush hour starts as a busy mum, Nina. You've got to get the washing on, got to do homework. Everyone's starving. What's for dinner? I'd go to my kitchen. I'd pull out something, a recipe book, because I've always cooked, that looked semi-inspirational. And Jesus, Mary and Joseph had 16 ingredients and one's a spatchcock and it's 10 to 6 on a Wednesday evening. So I went looking for a really, really simple cookbook, something to help me get good, fast, nutritional food on the table at the end of a busy day. Couldn't find it, sat down at my computer, opened, I don't even think it was a laptop back then. I don't think we had laptops back then 20 years ago. It was a desktop Word document. And the first thing I typed into that, because I was going to just create a little bit of a tool to help me get good food on the table fast, was apricot chicken. And then the next recipe, which is an Aussie classic, and then the next recipe I typed into what become the manuscript of 4 ingredients was my Nana's lemonade scones made with just 3 ingredients, 4 cups of racing flour, 1 cup of lemonade and 1 cup of cream. And then I got on this roll of really quick, easy, delicious recipes, and that's how 4 ingredients come about. And I compiled it through that year or year and a half of compilation, and everyone would say to me, I need a book like that. Where am I going to get this book from? So quietly in the pit of my belly, I was getting a little bit confident about how well received this cookbook would be with the general public.
Mm-hmm.
But when I had what was eventually the manuscript to take to the fine publishers of this land, the very first question they would all ask me is, are you famous? Literally, are you famous? And it was rhetorical, Nina, publisher after publisher after publisher. And what I realized is that without fame or infamy, you have no following.
In other words, you had to be a TV personality or a radio.
Famous restaurateur. You had to be, yes. And remember, 17 years ago, this was the actual, this was the launch of Jamie and Gordon and Nigella and showing us how to make asparagus custard, Nina. I remember it like it was yesterday. So, they would pique my interest. They would inspire me. They were aspirational. But the reality was I would then hoof it into my kitchen where I had bacon, eggs and onion and some puff pastry.
Yeah.
And that was the tool. I needed a tool to show me what to do with those to create something my hungry 3 boys would eat.
That's right.
And so 4 ingredients stemmed from no culinary expertise I possessed whatsoever. It stemmed from a need I had as a busy, devoted mum and a corporate working woman to get good food on the table fast at the end of the day. And to be honest, as life has progressed and technology has become more a part of our daily lives, I feel I've become busier. So the need for 4 ingredients, although strong then, I think is even stronger today.
The more you do, the more you have to do, the busier you are. and Kim, you've got 41 titles in your series. I imagine that there's a new title coming up soon.
Oh, what a lovely segue, Nina. So much.
Yes, you did tell me about this.
Diabetes.
That's great.
Yeah, so we just had actually World Diabetes Day when was that? Last month, a couple of months ago in November. So we've been on a bit of a roll with that one, all the publicity that we generated around that. But you'll notice the 2 books we talked about so far today, because how do you actually help yourself take your product and spread it out to the world?
Yes.
With both of these, you can see that little, our logo there. That is Celiac Australia.
Yes.
And then again over here on diabetes, that one there, that is Diabetes Australia. So what I do, and this is a really good tip for anyone out there that has a product, that has a service, who can you align yourself with that can help magnify your message about your product to their audience as well? So,
that comes under the umbrella of cause marketing. Yeah, because even tuna companies, one company decided to align themselves with dolphin safe tuna at one point. So it doesn't actually have to be an association, like a health association, depending on who's listening and who's got a product. You can align with a non-profit or a lobby organization that has good motherhood credibility, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
And like I've got one pet cookbook. 90% of all dogs over the age of 3 in Australia are prone to gum disease. So you take your sweet potato, and what we love about this tip, Nina, is that a kilo of sweet potato costs you about $2.99, so it's cheap and cheerful. Don't even peel it. Don't even worry about that. Just really sharp knife, really thin long slices. Right. And then you're going to dry roast it, because you want to slowly take out all that moisture so that you're left with one of those kind of really natural chewy bars that you buy your kids for their lunch boxes. But it's called an all-natural doggy chew.
Have you got any stories that they've told you about how the book changed their approach to cooking or improved their life?
Oh, my gosh, Nina, you've just got to follow our Facebook page. Right. And every single day, like was only 2 nights ago. I put this beautiful piece of feedback up from a lady in Cape Town, South Africa, who, you know, she had made something, I can't remember what. Oh, it was actually, tuna casserole. It was the most beautiful piece of feedback. So I just screenshot it, put it all over our stories with some South African flags, fan feedback. So you only have to follow our Instagram and Facebook page, and there you will see third-party endorsements for the various books, the various recipes within every single day, every minute of every day. There's a beautiful remark from someone. So,
and it's just the number 4 and the word ingredients, and then they search in Facebook and they can search in LinkedIn. Excellent.
Yeah.
And we'll put links in the show notes as well. And I know I saw you speaking at Professional Speakers. So you do some presentations, live presentations?
I do. And this, I've morphed into doing this, Nina. This, it's a bit, my whole, I actually did a double degree at university. I studied a degree in commerce and Japanese. So my whole life I have fallen into what I now do. But, you know, I'm a very good communicator, both on, you know, online and also in physical. In fact, I think it's probably one of my superpowers, my ability to communicate with a very wide audience, to read the room and know that, okay, I'm speaking to a group of accountants here, or I'm speaking to a room full of, you know, people who care for others at the Care Expo. You know, you can read a room really quickly and you can adapt your story to that room. But generally my story is one of interest, because I wrote a book the entire market said would never sell because it was ugly. I wasn't a chef. I had a green cover. It didn't have pictures, blah, blah, blah. It went on to become the biggest self-published cookbook in Australian history. It has spawned an entire series. We are now the 7th largest publisher in Australia. And it's just, and then from all of that, people are naturally interested, well, how did, I defied logic. I defied the trade. I defied the experts, you know, in the trade. And so that's an interesting story. So then from, you know, my cookbook stemmed my speaking gigs as well. And I kind of do that now, not at all like you, who's a professional and who pauses for effect. And I do it very rawly, Nina. I don't warm up my vocal cords. I've never even thought to have done that. I just go out there and I just tell my story and I share some of my recipes. And I just know as well, I try wherever I am, whether I'm speaking to 5 people or 500 people, to make it informative and entertaining. Now, I am no one's comedian, but I love a good laugh. I'm lighthearted.
That's right.
I don't script things. I don't have prompters or teleprompters. You can see me speak 40 times and I'll probably tell you something different in every one of them.
That's lovely. I think that's natural and authentic and engaging.
Yeah, and it's just, it's not a trajectory I was on. It's just one I found myself a part of. And to be honest, Nina, I love it. I really enjoy it. And I love going to events to see how you guys, like every time I go to a speaker's event or, you know, a PD day, I generally tend to naturally find myself listening to people. Yes, I love their messages as well, because you always learn something from somebody, but I love to see how they stand, how they hold themselves, their pronunciation, their I'm looking at different things all the time. Learning.
Oh, you learn from every speaker that you watch. Yes, absolutely. Now, the other thing you sent me was this lovely book, 10 Years In. It's got lots of pictures, and I picked a few of them. I like this one, Fabulous Called, We Answered.
Hello.
And for anybody listening, the episode, a few episodes before this one, will be with the fabulous Maz Speaks, and she's got lots of stories that includes A-listers and Arnie Schwarzenegger and Tony Curtis and Michael Hutchins and Paula Yates, lots of stories, because she was a producer in the UK, now living in Australia. So she's fabulous. Oh. You're fabulous.
Oh, well, it takes one to know one, Nina, someday.
But what I loved about this little book, which is your story and it's your journey, but there are a few little lessons. And what I liked, one I really liked, is what you call a blessing. In other words, the things that don't go your way, if you turn them around and make lemons out of lemonade. What is it? No, lemonade out of lemons.
Lemons. You have a blessing. So, you know, from a something that's gone wrong, it hasn't necessarily, and I'm naturally glass half full, and I think this has been part of my success on my business journey. Of course you fail in business. You're always going to fail, but I don't kind of ever, I learn from that. So there's my lesson, which then becomes my blessing, which is a blessing. So
it's lovely you're creating a new vocabulary, which I love that, Kim. It's just wonderful. And look, this one is good. This is about talk. Talk to people. Everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't. I'm just going to mention something. I went on holidays with a girlfriend. It was a ski holiday in New Zealand. And what I discovered, I mean, we were friends, she used to talk to me, I talked to her, but seeing her in the elevator, in the lift, seeing her just in the lobby of the hotel, just chat to people all the time.
Yep.
When she saw anybody, so in other words, she would never go into a lift and just go up in silence if there were other people there. And I went, well, initially I was a little embarrassed. It's like, oh, you talk to everybody. And then I went, well, hang on. That's a blessing.
That is a blessing, isn't it? And I mean, hello, I say to my 3 boys, Nina, hello is single-handedly the most powerful word in English language. Hello has opened so many doors for me, created so many opportunities. And I just said to them, always be the first to walk into a room, extend your hand and say, hello. I said, it will open more doors than you could ever possibly have imagined.
And there was a supermarket checkout person who I noticed his pattern, which was every single person that went through, he would say, are you busy? Are you busy? And everybody had an answer.
See, that's an open question, isn't it? So it's not just a yes or no reply. So it sparks conversation. That's actually that's a great little question, but one of my personal favorites. It has never been easier to be published. It has never been harder to be seen.
Oh, yes, that's so true. But I've self-published 2 books and I'm about to do my 3rd. So we're about to do the Manage Self-Lead Others book.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah.
And then finally, I love this one about effort. Effort is the best indicator of interest.
Yeah.
Well, we're sort of coming to the end of our time. I do want to ask you, what's next for 4 ingredients? You've got diabetes. That's just been launched, so it's a bit hard to say I already know what the one after that is. So if you can say...
We work in advance. And to be honest, we're very consumer driven. So, you get these rhetorical questions over and over and over. And the question that I'm getting a lot of at the moment, Nina, is do you have a cookbook for FODMAPs? So,
yes.
Yeah, so FODMAPs for, listeners is an acronym that basically describes the various sugars there are. So just think of fructose, oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, et cetera, So that's something we're researching at the moment. Now, whether there's a big enough market to do a physical book, because obviously these are quite expensive, I feel very grateful to have created something that has benefited so many others. I think that's been my real blessing, in 4 ingredients. And I don't know, if you haven't adopted 4 ingredients, wherever you are and whoever, wherever you're listening from, 2 things will happen when you do. The first is you will save time and the second is you will save money. 100. The recipes are all trialed and tested. They're going to have a star ingredient. They're going to work. They're going to be flavorful. Just try it because honestly, you will save time and money in the kitchen. And they are 2 things I value very highly.
And I just want to extend the lesson of your experience and your story to anybody who's employed, who's listening to this, and maybe a manager who's leading a team, because there's bound to be stories about your products and even about, taking it to market, that like an origin story that is worth putting into at least an ebook to begin with so you can test the market, and maybe self-publishing. Because that's how you win awards. I mean, one good thing to keep the morale of a team is to get the team behind to win an award. How about getting them behind writing a book?
Oh, well, that's a great, and you can just, if you want to just do an ebook, I mean, it's amazing. But I don't know. And there's something to be said about having the name of people. Like, you'll go through my cookbooks and you'll go, this was contributed by Nina Sunday. This was contributed by Deepak Chopra. This was contributed by Jimmy Barnes or Marsha Hines. And people love it. To me, it was a really good marketing ploy when I first did my 2 books, because I thought, if I put someone's name on a recipe, they're not going to buy this book for themselves. They're going to buy it for their aunt, their uncle, their mother, their father, their daughter, their brother, whatever. They'd probably buy half a dozen copies to give as gifts. So, if you have a team and you can include them in whatever you were trying to create, there's a little sense of ownership, which is really important. So, and my team, they're not my team, they're my consultants. They travel with me, they consult with me. I mean, Melinda, my beautiful, brand manager, she's now worked with me for 15 years. So,
oh, wonderful. That's great.
I know. Well, I think that's also been part of the success of 4 Ingredients. I've surrounded myself with very smart people who push back, don't just accept, my word. I love people who push back, who challenge, who have other ideas, and I've always fostered that. Like, I find, what's your opinion? I'm always seeking their advice, their opinion, their feedback. So, and then it empowers them, and empowered people feel confident, and that then resonates into the rest of their little lives. So it's very important to take your success and to share that, to let your team know that they're part responsible for that as well.
That's marvellous. Well, if anybody's overseas, they'll be able to get your cookbooks on Amazon. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and they're in just about every bookstore around the country in Australia and the world? It's a global world now. You can order from our website, and we're shipping overseas all the time. Right. So, I mean, we're not quite as fast as Amazon, and this is Australia, and Australia Post does only pick up mail every second day now. So, but it is worth the wait. It's worth the wait. And just tell us the website again.
4 ingredients.com.au. Same
and
as
we'll
Facebook,
put it in the
same
show.
as Pinterest, same as everything else. So,
That's right. That's great. Look, talking with you, Kim, is an absolute inspiration. I feel like I'm going to go forward to the rest of my day with a spring in my step, just listening to you and vibing on your energy.
Oh, thank you, Nina. What a lovely thing to say. What a lovely comment to have, compliment to receive. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Kim McCosker. It's been a true pleasure, and I really have enjoyed your storybook and cooking with 4 Ingredients. This episode, we've been speaking with Kim McCosker, author of 4 Ingredients, which is an amazingly successful series of now 41 cookbooks, and global book sales are nearing 9 million copies. She's done TV series for Foxtel, and at the 2017 World Gourmand Cookbook Awards in China, 4 Ingredients was named a best-selling category. This award led to Kim to cook on stage underneath the Eiffel Tower at the World Gourmand Cookbook Summit in Paris. Go to 4ingredients.com.au because .au is for Australia. And my name is Nina Sunday, your host of Manage Self, Lead Others podcast. Share this episode with all the cooks in your life because they can certainly benefit by the days when they don't have time to do this 14-ingredient dish.
Nina Sunday CSP is on a mission to help leaders transform culture. Nina Sunday travels from Brisbane, Australia to facilitate half-day or full-day workshops at your location anywhere across Australia. For a list of Nina's topics around leading people, productivity and communication, go to brainpowertraining.com.au signature programs to request a tailored proposal. To book Nina Sunday CSP to speak at your conference in Australia, New Zealand, Asia or internationally, head to ninasunday.com for details.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.